My name is Louise and I am here today to talk to John Francis Gilling. Formerly from London, John now resides in his adopted city of Hull. John says he's basically retired, but back in the day he was a former kickbox champion until he suffered a devastating stroke, which left him sadly in a wheelchair. After months of treatment and rehabilitation at that time in his life, he was finally told that he would never walk again and he would spend the rest of his time in a wheelchair. Not prepared, at the age of 34, John set out to instigate a campaign for a specialised stroke unit in the East Riding of Yorkshire. With John's determination and never say die attitude, he raised almost 16,000 names on a petition. He took it down to Westminster with the help of Alan Johnson MP, and later into the campaign, as the momentum gathered pace, he also received support from David Davies MP. Just as then, back in 1997, John is now setting his sights high upon becoming a local ward councillor for the Orchard Park area. John is well known, and in his usual fashion, he has set out his stall to tell the voting public why they should vote for him. Independent News has been given the opportunity to chat with John and get to the bottom of what has driven his Never Say Die campaign. Let's get into it now and ask John why he's standing for local councillor in Orchard Park area. So hiya John, now you're here, I'd like to ask you why stand for local councillor in Orchard Park?
Because I care about my community, I care about my neighbours, I care about my local area, and I just want to make a difference. I don't think people are actually happy at the moment with the way things are locally or nationally, and a lot of people sit around complaining on their sofas, and I don't think that does any good. So I think if you're gonna complain, you've got to try and do something about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to stand as a local councillor in the Orchard Park area. I moved to Hull in 1989, sorry, and I've lived in Orchard Park for about 18 years now. I've never actually understood the negative press that Hull as a city gets. The media are saying that it's gone from the worst to the 5th worst place in the UK to live. I don't get that. I've never got that. I know some wonderful people in Hull. I've got a good set of friends, I've got good neighbours. But even beyond that, I was talking to a friend of mine the other week, and his nephew's a police officer. And they were talking about crime, and they were saying that whenever there's a crime, the police automatically look towards Orchard Park. They say all roads lead to Orchard Park, and I don't get that either. I know a lot of good people in Orchard Park. I know Orchard Park's got its problems, but if that's the attitude people have got towards them, then what are they going to expect? They're not raising people's aspirations. They're not making people feel proud about the place. They're running people down. Now, Hull, I live in Orchard Park. I've got a saying: if you look down on a child, the child's not going to look up to you. People need somebody to look up to, and so yeah, I think I could give them that.
Thank you. So, just to understand it a bit more, John, are you standing with the party, or are you standing as an independent?
I'm going to stand as an independent councillor in Orchard Park, and the reason for that is it's twofold really. Hull became a unitary authority in 1996, I believe, and ever since then, all Orchard Park has ever known is a Labour council. Apart from one time, there was a guy called Terry Garrity. He's an old friend of mine. It's his father. He was a Labour councillor, and he got in as a Labour councillor, but I think he had some kind of disagreement with the Labour Party, so he broke away from them one year, and he went independent and he got in. But he then went back to the Labour Party and got in as a Labour councillor in Orchard Park under the Labour banner again. So really, the independent part is a bit of a fallacy. He's always been Labour. He's always had the Labour values. Now, that's all they've ever known. And the other part of it is, as an independent, I won't have to toe a party line.
Yes.
I can speak freely. I can speak for the electorate, whoever votes for me. We've seen nationally over recent months that some MPs on a national basis, both with the Tories,
Yes.
both with Labour and other parties, if they say something that the people behind them don't like,
Yes.
they end up losing their jobs and they
Yes,
try to
I've
shut
seen
them up.
that.
I don't believe that's a democracy. So yeah, my tagline is going to be speak for the people, not the party.
That's good, I like that.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak for the people
Very
that vote for me, if they do vote for me.
So what will the people from Orchard Park ask in terms of, oh, there's John, what can he bring to the table?
I've got no experience in the political aspects of life at all.
Right.
I don't come from the normal boys' brigade, so I've not been in it. So what they'll be getting with me is a fresh face. They'll be getting a bit of honesty. They'll be getting all honesty from me. I've got a lot of life experience. As you said at the beginning in your introduction, I used to be a very fit young man. I've done karate for Great Britain. I've got a second Dan black belt in karate. I won an English kickboxing title. All of my former life was done as a fit person, and all my jobs are manual labour. In 1997, when I was 32, I had a blood clot in my brain and I had a stroke. So my life turned right upside down. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I lost my speech for 18 months. I was told I would use a wheelchair for the rest of my life. I wouldn't be able to walk in a straight line for the rest of my life. I proved them wrong. So I've shown my resilience on that part of things.
Absolutely.
When I was ill, I went to college. I left school at 15 years old. I never got any exams at school.
A lot of people
I
did
never
that,
had,
didn't they?
I never had any qualifications. Everything I've done, I've done through my own sheer determination and my own personality. And anyway, what I've done is, when I was ill, I went to college and I got some education behind me, something I'd never done before, and I ended up getting an office job. And what I've done is I first set up my own peer support service for disabled people. And I help disabled people to find the goal in life, is to sit, talk and listen to them, and find out what they wanted to do, what they could do, what they can't do, and I used to help them move on in life. And then from that I went on to work with disabled people in independent living, where I supported them people to employ their own carers, their own personal assistants, so they became the boss, rather than somebody telling them when to get up out of bed. They told people what time they wanted to get out of bed.
Very empowering.
So I empowered them. Also, I've got a lot of transferable skills. When I had my stroke, there was a group of us, there was 5 of us that set it up. I wasn't the leader of the group, as you said earlier on, that was my friend Brian Archibald. I was one of the original people that supported him. So there was a team of us that done it, and we campaigned for stroke service in Hull and East Riding. And we was actually the first group, I believe, in the history of England to take a petition through Parliament and then remain a group to see it come to fruition, and then carry on working with the local health service and the local authority to make it better, to improve it and consult with us. So so I've done that side of things, and I've always liked to help people. In my younger days, I was a karate instructor. I used to teach kids karate. I volunteered with the Red Cross, teaching kids first aid. I used to go into schools teaching karate. I was actually the vice chairman of the Healthy Independent, the IN network. It was a healthy living program where in Hull they was given £250,000 to distribute to local charities, and I was originally voted on there as the vice chairman. I was also on the board of the Hull and Enshrining Advocacy Service, where we represented people with learning difficulties, and I spent a little bit of time on the board of the Amberside Law Centre.
That's a lot of experience there to deal with people and helping, enabling, and being in organisations as well.
Yeah.
So what would you say to people on Orchard Park? Why should people vote for you?
Because I care.
Yeah.
Because I'm honest. And what I would say to people on Orchard Park is you've had a Labour council out since 1996.
Yeah.
You've never had anyone else apart from a Labour councillor. Just ask yourselves, are you happy? If your local councillors walk past you in the street, would you recognise them? Would you know who they are? Could you tell me their names? I can tell you at least two of the names, Gary Waring and Rosie Nicola, and there's another lady called Margaret, or Rebecca, but I can't remember her surname. And what I would say is are you voting them in because you want them in or because you're used to them? If you want change, and if you want someone that's going to speak up for you, vote for me.
Nice. Do you think people will vote for you, John?
I do think people are going to vote for me. I've been speaking to a lot of people. I'm not going to actually start my campaign until April time. The election's on May the 2nd. But I'm going to start campaigning and visiting people's houses and doors. A lot of people know me. A lot of people see me walking with two bulldogs. And I've spoke to a lot of my neighbours who seem quite pleased that I've decided to stand as a councillor, and they've all said that they would vote for me. I was actually talking to a friend of mine in the post office on Orchard Park the other day, and I happened to mention to him that I was going to be standing as a councillor, and out of the blue a lady that I didn't even know tapped me on my shoulder and said, "I'll vote for you."
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, if I don't stand, I don't know. I don't want to be one of them people that sits on the sofa thinking, could I or would I have? So let's go for it.
Perhaps people are ready for change, John. Thinking about your political views and saying that you're standing independently, I think people will be interested to know, what are your political views on a wider basis?
On a wider basis. I actually believe in the democracy that this country says it has, but I don't think we live in a democracy at the moment. I think the idea of free speech has long gone. Just look at what's happened lately. In the Houses of Parliament the other week, that the Speaker actually altered the rules because he was afraid of the way certain MPs may have voted and the fear to their health and their physical being. Look at what happened to Suella Braverman when she said what she actually thinks. She lost her job, but then a month later Rishi Sunak is on the steps of Downing Street saying more or less the same thing that he said to Suella Braverman.
Makes sense, does it?
There's no democracy there. And then when you look at Lee Anderson, what's he said wrong? I do think, although I don't always agree with what certain people say, I do think that power of freedom of speech should stay there. I want to live in a country that rewards the working man, rewards hard work, looks after the people that needs to be looked after, helps people from other countries, but not to the detriment of their own country. I want to bring back a bit of patriotism into I'd like to see patriotism brought back into the country as a whole. I do think that if people don't love where they're from or where they're living, then that's a negative mindset already. You've got to love who you are and where you're from, and where you're living. I've got no problem with immigration, like some people might say I have. I believe that we need immigration into this country, but what we need constructive immigration. We need immigration that's going to make this country better.
Yes.
Like some of the immigrants in the past, like the West Indians and the Windrush, like the Ugandans, like the Nepalese, the Gurkha soldiers, etc., the Chinese. But what I don't think is we shouldn't have people come to this country that don't like the way it is, don't like us, and are trying to change us.
Okay.
They're trying to change the demographic of the country. I don't think we should be having that. So yeah, that's part of my political views. I wouldn't say that I'm a right-wing minded person.
No.
I would more say I'm a concerned, patriotic citizen that wants the best for his people and for his country and anybody else that actually lives here. But do things the right way, not the wrong way.
Yeah. Thank you. And what do you think of the current political system? Do you think it is a true democracy?
No, I don't know. No, for the reasons I've just covered.
Yeah.
I'm fed up of watching Question Time and seeing the Prime Minister and the opposition Prime Minister just arguing. All they do, they seem intent on bringing each other down and slating each other off. If you had two children in a school arguing the way they do in Downing Street or in the Houses of Parliament, the teacher would step in and say, be nice to each other. But we've got the people leading this country and the potential leading this country, and all they ever want to do is say what the other person is doing wrong and hold personal insults. They're the people running this country. I think people need to concentrate on what they're going to do, not what they think other people are doing wrong. They need to think about improving, not what we've done wrong. Learn from the mistakes, and don't ignore the mistakes, but don't keep banging on about it. Come up with a proper plan.
Thank you. So, folks, you heard it here first. This is John Francis Gillings, your potential next candidate for Orchard Park Councillor.
Thank you for having me.